My 50-hour coma experience awakened me, adding faith and love to my life. Never have the same thoughts as I did. Have you ever fallen into despair? I certainly have. After a reckless decision, I found myself in a coma for 50 hours. Awakening from that deep slumber, my pre-VYS intentions had vanished, replaced by a newfound perspective on life. My hope is that sharing these insights can brighten your VYEW. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I'm Clara, the eldest child in a financially struggling family where I grew up with two younger sisters and a brother. In our home, boys were valued over girls, which meant facing numerous challenges from a young age. I was forced to leave school prematurely to work and help my mother manage the significant debts incurred by my father. Just when life seemed to be gaining meaning with the arrival of my boyfriend Ryan, my professional life crumbled as my employer went bankrupt and I found myself jobless. During this turbulent period, I discovered Ryan was seeing someone else. Overwhelmed by despair, I overdosed, leading to a 50-hour coma. Those hours were a journey through my life's highest highs and lowest lows, ultimately teaching me the true value of. One poignant memory from when I was 15 was my intense desire for a digital watch, just like the ones my friends wore. To afford it, I skipped meals and took on extra chores, VYing every penny. When I finally bought the watch, it brought me immense joy. I cherished it, constantly admiring it on my wrist. However, one day after showering, I returned to find the watch missing from the drawer where I'd left it. Panic set in, and a troubling thought led me outside where I found my younger brother Paul holding it. "Give the watch back to me," I demanded. "No, it's mine," he retorted. "You took it from my drawer, didn't you? Give it back." "No, don't pull it like that," he protested as I reached for it. "Give it to me," I insisted, snatching the watch back. Paul fell unexpectedly. "What's happening here?" my father interjected as Paul cried. "Clara took the watch, and she won't let me play with it," Paul complained. "But this watch is mine. I bought it with my SAVYNGS, I explained. "How could you afford it? Give it to him now." "Don't make me repeat myself," my father commanded. No, I stood my ground. "You dare to defy me?" he shouted. My father struck me repeatedly, deaf to my pleas. Ultimately, I had to relinquish the watch to Paul, who smugly trotted off, mocking me with a stick-out tongue. All I could do was weep and vent, nursing a deep-seated resentment. I remember myself at 18 longing to attend university, but all my hopes were dashed. "Our family is burdened with a huge debt. If you go to university, I won't be able to support everything for you," my mother said, her voice filled with sorrow and regret. "I'll do any job to earn money and take care of myself. You don't need to worry about me. Just let me continue my studies," I pleaded, desperation in my. Then my father angrily said, "A girl doesn't need to study so much. You should quit school, work, and help your mother support the But I want." I stammered, my heart sinking. "No more buts. Do you dare argue with me?" My dad's voice boomed, silencing any further protest. I knelt and begged, "Father, please let me continue my studies. I will take care of everything myself without troubling you and mother. Please, Father." "No means no." My father coldly brushed me off. I looked at my mother and could only cry. She helplessly hugged me and cried with me. A few days later, I was hired as a worker at a factory sorting and packing agricultural products. My job started at 7 a.m. with overtime until late at night. The money I earned was used to pay off the large debt my father had incurred. Those days were truly exhausting, with the pressure from family and work making me feel like I was about to explode. About a year later, to have more personal space, I decided to live alone. Besides working at the company, I kept to myself in my rented room. I didn't dare spend money on food or luxuries to save money for my family's debt. There were times when my pockets were completely empty. "How about it, girl? Got any money today? We've been waiting a long time. Should we just throw your father in jail?" The debt collector my father owed money to threatened, his tone menacing. "I just gave you money last week, didn't I?" I replied, my voice shaking. "That little amount? Do you know how much your father owes? Do you want to die?" he snarled. "But now I really have no money. Please give me a few more days." "A few more days, huh? Let me warn you. In a week, if there's no money, I'll kill your whole family. Better find a way to get the money soon." The debt collector threatened harshly. He and my father often came to my rented room to demand money. When I said I didn't have any, they trashed my belongings and threatened me in various ways. I lived in constant fear and anxiety, causing my friends to gradually distance themselves. I didn't dare get close to anyone, isolating myself and living in loneliness. It was a very difficult time. Even now, thinking back, I still feel a chill. Every day was a struggle, not just financially, but emotionally as well. I often found myself overwhelmed by the sheer weight of my responsibility. The loneliness was suffocating, and I missed the comfort of having someone to talk to, but I knew I had to endure. I had to keep going for the sake of my family. Each night, I lay awake, thoughts racing through my mind about how to find more money, how to escape the clutches of the debt collectors, and how to finally find peace. Even when I moved to my rented room, the fear followed me. The debt collectors' threats echoed in my mind, and I couldn't escape the constant dread that hung over my life. I avoided making friends, afraid that any connection I formed would be tainted by the mess my life had become. My room became both a sanctuary and a prison. It was the only place where I felt even a shred of safety, yet it also isolated me. One particularly terrifying evening, the debt collector came with two large men. They ransacked my room, breaking what little belongings I had, and made it clear that if I didn't come up with the money soon, they would make good on their threats. The fear and helplessness I felt in that moment were indescribable. It was as if my entire world was closing in on me. There was no escape. Despite these horrors, I tried to find small moments of hope. I clung to memories of happier times, of dreams of a future where I could study and build a better life. These dreams kept me going even when everything seemed hopeless. Looking back now, I realize that those dark times forged a strength in me I didn't know I had. But at the time, all I could feel was fear and despair and a desperate need to survive one more. After about a year of living alone and working tirelessly, I met Ryan. He was a bright spot in my otherwise bleak existence. We met at a local cafe where I often went to escape my grim reality, even if just for a few minutes. Ryan was kind, attentive, and seemed genuinely interested. For the first time in a long while, I felt seen and valued. He had a way of making everything seem brighter, and for the first time in a long while, I felt genuinely happy. We started spending more time together. Gradually, he became my anchor. His presence in my life gave me a reason to smile, a reason to hope. We would spend hours talking about our dreams, our fears, and our future. He encouraged me, and for a while it felt like everything might just be okay. We fell in love quickly, and he made me believe that better days were possible. However, just about a year later, another crisis hit. My company went bankrupt, and I became unemployed. The news hit me like a ton of bricks. Without a steady income, the pressure from my father's debt collectors became unbearable. They continually came to demand payment, not just from me, but also from my mother and sister. The stress was overwhelming, and I felt like I was drowning. At my lowest point, I discovered Ryan with another girl. I couldn't believe my eyes. I stood outside the door, covering my mouth to stifle my sobs. The sight of them together shattered my heart into a million pieces. I wandered aimlessly through the night, with a heavy rain soaking me completely, as if the heavens were mocking me. Each raindrop felt like a reminder of my misery, my loneliness, and my despair. In the days that followed, in an attempt to hold on to my relationship, I pretended nothing had happened. I was desperate to keep the one person who had brought light. However, Ryan grew colder and continually avoided. His warmth and kindness were replaced by indifference and distance. "Kelvyn, break up. I don't have feelings for you anymore," Ryan said one evening, his voice void of emotion. "Ryan, why are you saying that? I love you. I can't live without you. Please don't break up with me. I'll die." My voice cracked as I begged, tears streaming down my face. Despite my constant begging, Ryan resolutely turned his back. I was devastated. The man who had once been my source of strength had abandoned me when I needed him the most. I locked myself in my room, feeling despair take over my body, and my thoughts spiraled into a dark abyss, and I felt completely and utterly alone. I fell into a deep depression, seeking an escape from my suffering. I stopped eating, stopped talking to anyone, and spent most of my days in bed. The world outside seemed distant and unenviting. Sleep became my only refuge. Devastated, I locked myself in my room, consumed by hopelessness. I fell into a deep depression, wanting to escape the pain. I took a lot of pills hoping for release, but instead I fell into a 50-hour coma. I drifted into sleep feeling like I was flying, so light, free. In my dreams, I revisited my past. All my memories, both good and bad, came flooding back. I saw myself as a child laughing and playing without a care in the world. I relived the moments of joy and the moments of pain. Then everything lit up. During that time, I was transported back to various moments of my life, both joyous and sorrowful. I saw my younger self full of dreams and aspirations, and I relived the heartbreak and struggles that had shaped me. Oh, my poor daughter, does it hurt a lot? Don't cry anymore. Let me apply some medicine for you. My mother said, her voice soft and soothing as she dabbed ointment on my bruise. Mom, why does Dad always favor Paul? I didn't do anything wrong. I saved up my own money to buy that watch. I cried, the injustice of it all burning inside me. I know. I'm sorry you had to endure so much, but I don't know how to make it up to you, she said, her eyes filled with sadness and helplessness. My mother was a very pitiable woman, bearing the burden of our family on her shoulders, working tirelessly from morning till night to take care of us. She loved me very much, but often she could only hug me and cry. Her own strength was waning, yet she always tried to be there for us, even when the weight of our family's problems seemed too much to bear. Sister Clara, are you hurt? Let me blow on it for you, don't cry. If Dad doesn't love us, we'll love each other, my youngest sister Rosa said with a child's innocent wisdom. The three of us hugged each other tightly, and my mother stroked our heads, unable to hold back her tears. Everything before my eyes blurred, replaced by the image of Ryan Lowe V.Y. Ingley looking at me. Moreover, Ryan and I met one fateful rainy afternoon. I was walking home when it started to pour, and I was frantically looking for shelter when Ryan came up behind me and covered me with his umbrella. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. Ryan had a handsome face with beautiful brown eyes that seemed to see right through me. It turned out Ryan worked at a factory next to my company, and from then on we became close. Our relationship quickly turned from friends to lovers. Despite being busy with his own work, Ryan always made time for me. Oh, my beloved daughter, you're awake. My daughter is awake. Rosa, go call the doctor. My mother held my hand, looking at me, Lowe V.Y. Ingley, with tearful eyes. I felt the warmth, the love of my mother, a sacred affection that comforted my soul. Her presence was like a beacon of hope, pulling me out of the darkness I had been engulfed in. The doctor came to check my pupil's blood pressure and pulse. He said I was fine thanks to my mother's timely discovery and bringing me to the hospital. My life was saved. I had been in the emergency room for about 4 hours and then remained in a coma for 50 hours. During that time, facing death, I had dreams about the things I had experienced, and I realized I wanted to live. I no longer wanted to die. I wanted to live for myself, for my mother, and for those who love me. The painful experiences that happened to me were not something anyone wished for. It wasn't my fault, but I had to accept and overcome my destiny. Through the window of the hospital room, I watched the sky outside and took a deep breath. Around me were patients fighting illness day and night to cling to life. I felt truly regretful seeing their struggle. I realized how precious life is and how much I'd taken it for granted. How are you feeling? My mother asked, her voice filled with concern. I'm fine now. I'm sorry. I'll never worry you like this again. I responded, my voice weak but sincere. I'm sorry too, Clara. Oh, your father came to VY sit you. He also regrets everything that happened, she said, her eyes filled with a mix of sorrow. I accidentally looked out of the hospital room and saw my father standing outside watching me. Seeing me, he turned and walked away. I ran after him, my body still weak, but driven by a need to confront and understand. Seeing his wrinkled, teary eyes, I felt a pang in my heart. All the negative thoughts I had about my father suddenly disappeared. I realized he had been suffering too in his own way. Dad, I called out, my voice trembling. He stopped and turned to face me. Clara, I'm sorry, he said, his voice cracking. I made so many mistakes, I know. Dad, we all have, but we can't change the past. We can only move forward. I replied, tears streaming down my face. I was discharged from the hospital and quickly returned to my daily life. I felt a surge of positive energy flowing through my body with beautiful things waiting for me. However, life wasn't as easy as I thought. Difficulties still came and overwhelmed me. The cycle of work and money continued to consume much of my time and energy. While walking through familiar streets, memories and pain about Ryan flooded back, making my heart ache. I passed the cafe where we used to meet, the park where we'd spend lazy afternoons, and a little bookshop where he'd buy me my favorite novel. Each place was a reminder of what I had lost, and yet they also reminded me of the strength I had found within myself. Despite the recurring pain, I always tried to overcome every hardship and live better each day. The amazing experiences I had during the 50 hours of deep coma helped me awaken and believe more in life. They taught me that life is unpredictable and often harsh, but also incredibly valuable. When I woke up, everything felt different. The world seemed brighter, and I had a newfound appreciation for life. I realized that despite all the suffering, I wanted to live. I wanted to fight for a better future, not just for myself, but for my mother and siblings who depended on me. After my recovery, I returned to work this time with renewed determination. I took on multiple jobs, VYing every penny, and slowly started to pay off the debt. I also began to reconnect with old friends and make new ones, allowing myself to trust and be open again. I threw myself into my work, not just to earn money, but to find a sense of purpose. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones, slowly rebuilding a support network. I volunteered at local shelters and community centers, finding solace and helping others. Each act of kindness, each connection reinforced my resolve to live a meaningful life. At home, things began to improve as well. My siblings were growing up, and we all pitched in to help our mother. The debt, though still a heavy burden, seemed more manageable with each passing day. My father, too, changed. He started attending counseling and made genuine efforts to mend his ways. Our relationship, once strained and distant, began to heal. Through this journey, I learned that life is filled with ups and downs, but it is also full of unexpected beauty and strength. I discovered a resilience within myself that I never knew existed. Each day was a new opportunity to grow, to heal, and to build a future I could be proud of. The experience of being in a coma had shown me the value of life and the importance of resilience. It taught me that no matter how dire are the circumstances, there is always a reason to keep going. As I share my story now, I hope it serves as a reminder that no matter how dark and difficult life may seem, there is always a reason to keep going. Life is precious, and every challenge we overcome makes us stronger. The darkest moments can lead to the brightest realizations, and it is in our most vulnerable times that we find our true strength. Never have the same thoughts as I did. Life is priceless, and after the rain, there will be a rainbow. I believe that with all my heart. What do you think about this story? Please share your comments down below. Thank you for listening to Vibe Tales. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening.